universe, far from planet Earth, thousands of unexplained, violent enigmas aggressively eat away at the very fabric of outer space. These galactic engines of destruction go only by one name: black holes.
Black holes are mysterious objects that lie at the frontier of current knowledge of physics. They represent a breakdown of space and time.
For years, scientists have struggled to understand how black holes can pull planets and stars into their vortexes, destroying them forever.
Black holes consume entire galaxies.
But are the forces of black holes limited to outer space? Some are now asking the question: is it possible that the forces that create black holes exist on planet Earth?
We don't understand how the universe functions as a whole.
The Milky Way is full of black holes, teeming with black holes.
Is it possible that a black hole lurks deep below the Earth?
This black hole could be the cause of a lot of disappearing aircraft, ships, and actually people.
The whole evolution of life requires violence. You're talking complete devastation. So it's not something we want to be around.
The universe. It is filled with entities that defy the rules of known physics, blur the distinction between matter and energy, and warp the fabric of space and time. At the top of the list of unfolding mysteries are the phenomena known as black holes.
We now have come to realize in the last few years that every galaxy, like for example our own Milky Way galaxy, has sitting in the middle of it a gigantic black hole. And we don't know where these so-called supermassive black holes come from. Most likely they're remnants of the first stars.
For years, astrophysicists have struggled to define what black holes actually are, and how they manage to seemingly destroy entire galaxies by converting them into nothing. As researchers continue to make giant advances in understanding the mysterious forces of our own planet, the questions some are now asking could change everything we thought we knew about Earth. Are there forces here on Earth that mimic those present in black holes? And further, does Earth have its very own version of a black hole?
Black holes can occur naturally on Earth. I'd estimate the size of a pinhead, probably smaller. But that's enough to actually cause a major effect.
In deep space, when stars reach the end of their lives, the remaining particles collapse in on themselves and form a dense mass, one so strong that nothing nearby can escape its gravitational pull. Even light traveling at 186,000 miles a second is sucked into the vortex. Black holes are massive. Normal ones have a mass of 4 to 15 times the mass of our sun. However, the larger so-called supermassive black holes have an estimated mass of 10 billion of our suns. A black hole's size is measured by its event horizon, an invisible line surrounding the black hole. It is the point at which the pull of the hole is inescapable.
The event horizon is where you start to notice all the different effects of a black hole. All your electromagnetics start to act kind of strange. Time and reality would be highly distorted. Magnetic fields, electromagnetics, radio communications, light would all start to be bent towards the black hole. It's basically a point of no return.
As a black hole absorbs more matter and grows, so does its event horizon. Over time, black holes consume stars and even entire galaxies. Unlike other stellar bodies that were discovered by optical or radio telescopes, black holes are completely invisible. They can only be detected by indirect means.
You can only see black holes when they're eating something, because when they eat, the material that they're eating gets hot, and before it falls in, it sends X-rays out.
Theories of invisible objects in space first began in 1794. By the early 1900s, Einstein's theory of relativity proved mathematically that black holes could actually exist. But it wasn't until January 2001 when Joseph Dolan of NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center discovered the first tangible evidence of black holes while analyzing images from the Hubble Space Telescope. Dolan saw something that stunned him: flashes of ultraviolet light emanating from Cygnus XR1, a star in our own galaxy, less than 6,000 light-years away. The flashes of ultraviolet light Dolan witnessed was the radiation of energy created as matter passed over the event horizon. It vanished into what some scientists literally call the twilight zone.
Black holes consume entire galaxies. You eat away at them very slowly and makes them disappear in time.
As a black hole is formed, there is a rippling physical effect in the surrounding area as the gravitational pull intensifies. Another effect is the mysterious change in the magnetic field that surrounds the black hole.
They have magnetism, which is in a form that's not fully understood, but that it resides inside the black hole. What the matter inside and what form it takes is unclear. What goes on inside a black hole is nebulous. It's not really something we understand very well.
The nebulous nature of black holes has led many scientists to theorize that these phenomena are more common than initially thought. In fact, one hypothesis states that black holes occur all around us, all the time, at varying levels of intensity.
The Milky Way is full of black holes, teeming with black holes.
If countless black holes indeed surround our planet, is it possible that one might even exist somewhere here on Earth? Theorist John Hutchinson says yes.
After a star collapses, black hole is formed, then perhaps many other tiny variations of it too. They're little black holes, and eventually in time, they migrate to the Earth. Where there's gravity, these little black holes want to go there. So a micro black hole would simply come into the gravity well and deposit itself somewhere within the Earth.
Infinite number of planets, and Earth is merely another piece of matter to be shaped and changed by the universe, causing some to believe that anything is possible. For years, fatal anomalies have been reported across the globe, from tsunamis to massive earthquakes to legendary areas of unexplained vessel losses in our oceans. Dr. Hutchinson points to an area in particular between latitude 25 to 40 degrees north and longitude 55 to 85 degrees west. It is known as the Bermuda Triangle.
All indicators in the Bermuda Triangle seems to point to a black hole. There's exotic energy forces out there that the academic scientists really don't know how to interpret it. Could very well be that a small black hole in the Bermuda Triangle could cause all the interesting disappearances, plus also mechanical interference in aircraft and navigational problems.
For over 5 centuries, hundreds of people have reportedly encountered their own private event horizon in the Bermuda Triangle. Many believe they crossed the invisible line which separated them from known laws of physics and entered into a strange, unknown world from which few have returned. It is an area about which we know surprisingly little. In fact, some scientists say that more is known about the moon than our deep seas.
We live on a planet, Earth. Technically, our planet should be called ocean. We probably know more about the surface of the moon than we do about what is actually below the oceans in many places.
Us scientists tend to feel that we've done so little to explore our own planet that it's a little bit crazy to think about Mars missions when we don't, for example, even know what's on the seafloor around Bermuda.
The area is host to dozens of strange reports of ships and aircraft which mysteriously seem to vanish into thin air. Are these stories the result of overactive imaginations, or is there a disturbing scientific explanation? Are the forces that cause matter to vanish into black holes the same as those that cause ships to disappear without a trace? Could the Bermuda Triangle be Earth's black hole?
In order to put together a story about ships in the Bermuda Triangle, we have a major problem. Many ships wreck or sink without trace, taking all hands with them. This removes the opportunity of being able to compile a report about what went wrong or what happened simply because you have no one to tell you what went on.
One theory of why so many craft have been lost has to do with sudden changes in the intensity and direction of the magnetic field in this area. Interestingly, unusual pulses of magnetism are also one of the byproducts of the black hole's process of destruction.
What we're trying to find is if there is magnetic vortexes And that's where suddenly you shift the magnetic field. And if these magnetic vortexes really do exist, that's going to aid and help in saying that there is some now physical proof that we got something really going on here in the Bermuda Triangle.
Could these magnetic vortexes be the cause behind hundreds of ships that have been pulled below the surface in the triangle?
There's not much left, but where you see those straight lines, those are timbers from the ship. So this is the bow of the vessel, named the Vixen, just split in half. As we come by the bow, you'll see it's bulbous, meaning it sticks out. There's 300 to 500 wrecks in the general area that we know of. There's got to be a lot more. Proton magnetometers have never worked very well in Bermuda, so maybe this device is just the thing. You never know what could be in here. You never know.
Dr. Maloney has designed a self-contained magnetic anomaly detection system. The device is being used in the triangle for the first time.
The particular device that we're working on is called the BTD, the Bermuda Triangle Detector, and it's tuned to the magnetic declination of where we are, and it monitors for anything outside a 2-degree window. So anything that's outside 2 degrees suddenly changes, and then it's going to set off an alarm. Setting up the power source data collection system, our sensor input system, software control.
Dr. Maloney has spent 10 years developing and testing his BTD device. It has proven to be wildly accurate in laboratory tests.
She's in monitor mode right now. So far, steady as a rock.
Hours into the quest, and the BTD has not detected any sudden shifts in magnetism. A storm looms in the distance as the ship navigates deeper into the unknown. Suddenly, it triggers.
Oh, she triggered. Yeah. Yep. Something causes it to shift. Now, just to make sure, we're going to reset the system. Turn around. I want to go back again.
This jet was approaching
Hangar 1.
They had lost control of the plane. But seconds before this, the pilots reported 3 UFOs.
Why would investigators ignore the most extraordinary detail in this case? A crash that resulted in 127 deaths.
Hangar 1, the UFO Files. All new Friday at 10 on H2. While sailing through the mysterious and treacherous seas of the Bermuda Triangle, Dr. Ronnie Maloney uses his magnetic detector to search for evidence of black holes on Earth in the form of magnetic vortexes. Tuned to detect magnetic variances in the ocean, the BTD device has remained silent until now.
Oh, she triggered.
The BTD device is triggered. It could be a one-time anomaly. Dr. Maloney orders the ship to turn around and retrace their path through the same area.
If it happens once in a blue moon or something, it could be that there might be some volcanic action, volcanic rock underneath that we're getting close to. Now, if we go back and it starts just going off randomly back and forth, then we're really sensing that there's something going on that's changing the natural magnetic footprint in the background here. Oh, here we go. Off again. We're just in the same general area that we were just a couple of minutes ago. We made an about face coming back, and it seems like right in this area, we got some magnetic variations going on right here. We may have something magnetically hot in this area here, so this is really exciting, and I'm just getting some of the coordination down here. 32 degrees, 18 minutes north, 64 degrees, 53 minutes west. We're going to turn around.
Dr. Maloney orders the ship to trace the same course for a third time to confirm this hotspot.
Again, go for the third time. There we go. We got another offset. So something definitely is happening here. Yeah, we got another alarm again. All engines stop.
Suddenly, the camera goes dead.
We were experimenting with Ronnie with his new magnetic vortex detector, and the thing went off, which I personally didn't expect. And as soon as it went off, the camera batteries died. The camera's a really, sophisticated and sensitive piece of electronic equipment. I mean, it's a high-def camera. It's generally not affected by anything except, pretty strong electromagnetic interference. And for it to kind of all of a sudden die, and for the batteries to give out is really pretty unusual.
What's going on right now?
Well, something's going on right in this area. We had 3 passes right in the same general area coordination here. We're losing batteries from the camera. The camera's just starting to die out all of a sudden, and the system has been beeping, triggered each time. Somewhere right in this location, which we mapped it with GPS, this could be a real magnetic vortex. So the next step is we're going to bring a team out here, underwater camera systems, and really map out and get the topography underneath the ground. This is great. I mean, come out here and testing the system in the real Bermuda Triangle. It's working the way it's designed, and it's telling us that there's something definitely going on in this area.
Scientists agree that a black hole like the ones in outer space simply could not exist on our Earth.
It's clear that there aren't black holes on Earth or anywhere near the Earth, or we wouldn't be here talking about them.
But Dr. John Hutchison, a longtime investigator of physical anomalies, has a unique theory of how a micro black hole might indeed be here on Earth, and might be causing the deadly manifestations that characterize the triangle.
If a ship were, let's say, in the Bermuda Triangle and relied heavily on the traditional navigation, what if the black hole was actually able to shift, which it can do, the geomagnetic field of the Earth and bend it and distort it? By doing that, of course, would offset the compasses, thus causing a great deviation in their flight.
When a black hole devours matter, it releases a variety of strong forces, including waves of magnetism. Could it be that a black hole is located at the bottom of the Atlantic and is affecting Earth's magnetic field?
There are quite a lot of losses of aeroplanes and ships because there are navigational difficulties, unusual ones, that navigators are perhaps surprised to encounter. Over most of the planet Earth, if you measure magnetic north, then it's different from true geographical north. But in the Bermuda area, magnetic north happens to coincide with true north. Where you get very dense magnetic intrusions, there you can get very strong magnetic fields. In some places in Iceland, for example, I've gone with a magnetic compass, and the bearing has been up to 45 degrees or even 90 degrees wrong, because there's some very strongly magnetized volcanic rock nearby. And there are certainly rocks of this sort in the Bermuda area, so that could also present problems.
It's also possible that Bermuda, rising as it does alone in the North Atlantic, can create magnetic anomalies that would affect the early types of compasses.
Intriguingly, scientists now have evidence that Earth's magnetic field is constantly changing, reversing, and even shows peculiar areas of magnetic shifts.
The Earth's magnetic field is generated in the Earth's core, which is molten iron. That iron is convecting, it's overturning as it transports heat from deeper within the Earth, from the inner core. And those convective motions, coupled with the Earth's rotation and the electrical conductivity of the iron, give rise to regeneration of magnetic field.
Jeremy Bloxham is a professor of geophysics at Harvard University. He has discovered an area where magnetic south mysteriously becomes magnetic north. It is unlike anything else on Earth. The phenomena is called magnetic reversal.
Right at the core surface, beneath the South Atlantic Ocean, we see this patch where the magnetic field has reversed polarity. So in that region, the magnetic field is going in the opposite direction from how it's arranged over most of the rest of the Earth's surface.
Professor Bloxham, who doesn't believe in black holes on Earth, offered visual depictions of this anomaly.
Well, what we're looking at here is a map of the magnetic field at the top of the Earth's core. As we go forwards in time, we'll notice as we get into the 20th century that the blue region beneath the South Atlantic Ocean grows in intensity, ending up with this large patch where the field lines are going in the opposite direction from what we would expect. So here, this patch in the southern hemisphere, the field has reversed.
Some say that in the event that these magnetic reversals are strong enough to be detected by airplane or ship compasses, the effects could be devastating. The most famous case involving a reported compass malfunction in the Bermuda Triangle is the loss of a squadron called Flight 19. On December 5, 1945, 5 U.S. Navy TBM Avenger torpedo bombers left the Fort Lauderdale Naval Air Station on a routine training mission. they disappeared in the heart of the Bermuda Triangle. In one of the last transmissions to Flight 19, the tower told its group leader to, quote, assume bearing due west. Flight 19, assume bearing due west. The leader responded, quote, we don't know which way is west. We don't know which way is west. Everything's wrong. Flight 19. Flight 19, come back.
Flight 19, which was a Navy torpedo bombing mission that 5 went out, and all of a sudden, after a few hours, they were in a disarray, and all 5 Navy bombers, all 5 of them, independent pilots, highly skilled pilots, just vanished and disappeared into the triangle.
A Martin Mariner flying boat was dispatched on a rescue mission. Several hours later, the rescue boat failed to return. Like Flight 19, the flying boat was never seen again.
And they probably just flew out and got mixed up in this, and just his instruments didn't work, and they didn't know where they were going. And what happened to the one that went to look for him? He never came back.
So when they're going in there, the communications suddenly stopped. Navigational information being cut off abruptly would indicate that there appears to be a black hole in that vicinity, acting like a gigantic drain and pulling all that electromagnetic energy into it.
Black holes cause changes in the force of gravity throughout the universe. On a smaller scale, similar effects on the gravitational field can be seen in an area unlike any other on Earth. Off of Puerto Rico, at the southern tip of the Bermuda Triangle, lies the largest area on Earth, a crack in the ocean's floor over 5 miles deep. This area, known as the Puerto Rico Trench, is home to the largest negative gravitational phenomenon on Earth, one that to this day remains unexplained.
Why is the Puerto Rico Trench the deepest part of the Atlantic Ocean, and why is it associated with the largest negative gravity anomaly on Earth? Are questions that puzzled me for quite a while and really attracted me to come and work there.
Veteran marine geophysicist Dr. Yuri Tenbrink is a non-believer in black holes on Earth. However, he has found a gravitational mystery unlike anywhere else in the world. The force of gravity is weaker in one area of the Bermuda Triangle.
It is important to use the word anomaly because it is only the change from the average gravity around the Earth. So the changes from that average is only about 0.3% of the total gravity field. So when I go to Puerto Rico, I do not really feel a lot lighter. I am probably lighter by 0.3% of my weight. We're only looking at the very, very fine scale, but this fine scale is still very significant.
While the gravitational shift measured in the Bermuda Triangle cannot compare to the sheer enormity of the gravitation waves emitting from black holes, the bigger question is, what is it about this particular location that disrupts the otherwise smooth gravitational field of Earth? Is it possible that this 0.3% anomaly could on occasion change? What would happen to a ship or plane that was suddenly significantly lighter or heavier than normal? Throughout the universe, the forces of gravity are normally uniform and predictable. However, if an object breaches the outer rim of the event horizon of a black hole, the forces of gravity become so intense, the object will be completely destroyed.
Well, the gravity around the black hole is hugely strong. It's unimaginably strong. So the black holes will just, like a gigantic vacuum cleaner, they'll just suck anything that comes by purely by gravity. So the gravity of the black hole is just immensely strong. So strong that not even light can escape. So the grip of black holes is total.
It has been well documented that the area has a terrifying history dating back centuries. Mariners, and in recent times pilots, tell of compasses which suddenly become inactive, magnetometers recording strange and inexplicable spikes, and gravitometers showing that Earth's gravity, for some reason, differs in these waters from any other place on Earth.
Given that there's so much of the world's seafloor yet to be discovered, or yet to be explored, who knows quite what we're going to discover next? And in the last few tens of years, we've gone out and found completely new life forms in new geologic settings we never even knew about, and we've only just begun to scratch the surface.
Both black holes and the Bermuda Triangle are synonymous with destruction. But could there be more? Incredibly, scientists theorize that black holes are also possibly linked to the process of creation. The same mathematics that prove the existence of black holes also predict the existence of another deep space phenomenon, an eerie mirror image of black holes, white holes.
There are ways, actually, to extract things out of black holes, very cunning ways that nature has to tap energy or even magnetic fields out of the black holes.
As part of Einstein's theory of relativity, he predicted the existence of white holes, objects in space that eject or actually create matter, spewing it back into the universe.
A white hole basically is an area that balances out a black hole. It's what perhaps a black hole emits into another dimension.
As theories persist that both black holes and white holes exist simultaneously in the universe, could they also coexist in some form here on Earth? Some say yes. Bermuda actually lies in the middle of what geologists term a large igneous province, or lips. It is an area with strange and unique white hole-like properties, an area where matter is actually created beneath its waters.
The Atlantic Ocean was formed by the separation of North America and South America from Europe and Africa. So there's active volcanism all down the center of the Atlantic Ocean, where the Mid-Atlantic Ridge is, and that volcanism is happening as we speak.
The strain of the continents pulling apart caused a cracking of the Earth's crust and subsequent volcanic activity. Matter poured out of these trenches, creating new land. In areas like Bermuda, this new creation of land happened very quickly and with catastrophic force. New land literally exploded onto Earth's surface, along with debris and poisonous gases.
A large igneous province is defined as a big area of volcanism where the lava covers an area which is perhaps 100 miles by 100 miles in size.
Large igneous provinces are huge volumes of magma placed in a short period of time. This might be millions of cubic kilometers of rock. These are major short pulse events in Earth's history.
One of the most impressive LIPS events happened millions of years ago near where Bermuda is today. The result actually helped to cause the further separation of the supercontinent Pangaea.
This particular event is just one of the most remarkable ones we know about. Not only is it linked with the initiation of opening of the Atlantic Ocean, but it is also linked with an extinction event. It covers some 7 million square kilometers, and the activity is centered in the area that would have been east of Florida there.
Scientists theorize there are objects known as white holes that have the opposite effect of black holes. They spew matter into the universe. Although colossal white holes don't exist on Earth, scientists believe that similar phenomenon called large igneous province or LIPS events not only helped to split apart the continents, but literally created the ocean floor on which the Bermuda Triangle lies today. LIPS events can be rapid and catastrophic, spewing volcanic matter and debris across the Earth's surface and into the atmosphere. But what if yet another LIP event were to occur in Bermuda today?
If we were to have the misfortune of a large igneous province starting today in the Atlantic Ocean, in the Bermuda area, for instance, of course there would be a lot of volcanism. You would see a lot of CO2 and sulfur dioxide being vented to the atmosphere. If it's large enough, it would start to raise sea level. The interaction with lava flows and seawater would probably produce sort of volcanic fog. Any of the tsunamis that were produced by this, of course, could travel to any of the areas in the Atlantic. And if they happened on the land, they would probably produce a lot of particulate matter into the air that would ash over some large areas. So it's not something we want to be around.
Like the theoretical white holes in space, this area in the triangle has been spewing new matter into Earth's waters for centuries. This raises the interesting theory. If white holes are the birthplace of matter in deep space, could they also be the birthplace of all matter on Earth? Could life's origins, in fact, have come from outer space? Chandra Wickramasinghe, director of the Cardiff, Wales Centre for Astrobiology, is an expert on panspermia, the notion that the foundations of life on Earth may have been implanted by a comet's impact millions of years ago.
The idea of panspermia is that life did not start here on the Earth, but came from a much bigger cosmic system. When the first life shows up on the Earth, we know that the Earth was being severely bombarded by comets.
But if comets or other astrobodies did carry the seeds of life to this planet hundreds of millions of years ago, conditions would have to be right for them to germinate, grow, and reproduce.
Assuming that comets did carry the genetic blueprint of simple life forms, of heat-loving life forms maybe, then the thermal vents would have been ideal locations for these primitive life forms to have taken off and to have developed.
Deep undersea vents in the triangle pump nutrient-rich minerals from beneath the Earth's crust, making it an ideal spawning ground for simple life forms.
This is an absolutely fabulous environment for which to have chemical reactions because it's warm, there are a lot of minerals being leached out of the rocks, so you get this very fertile chemical soup which is kept at a nice warm temperature, and this is the absolute ideal place in which you can create new things.
If one accepts the point of view that life came from comets 4 billion years ago, even more recent injections of cometary life have to be considered a very real possibility. Comets are with us all the time. Hundreds of tons maybe of cometary debris enters the Earth's atmosphere on a daily basis. We are constantly exposed to new types of bacteria from space. That might or might not be a scary prospect.
But there's more. If you were to take a rod and push it straight through a globe in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle, the other end would emerge in the Mariana Trench off the southern coast of Japan. Amazingly, the Mariana Trench is one of only a few places on Earth to have the types of undersea vents crucial to the development of life. This area is often referred to as the Dragon's Triangle.
There's a triangle off of the coast of Japan. It's called the Dragon's Triangle. It's an area where ships, airplanes disappear. It's similar in some ways to the Bermuda Triangle.
Significantly, both triangles contain some of the deepest trenches of the world's oceans. The Mariana Trench, at over 11 miles, is the deepest spot on the planet.
You have a deep sea trench there because the Pacific Plate is plunging back into the Earth's interior all the way along this rim of fire, as we call it. And the Marianas Trench happens to be one of the most famous trenches because it's the deepest one in the world.
On the other side of the world, at the southern tip of the Bermuda Triangle, lies the Puerto Rico Trench, the deepest part of the Atlantic.
The Puerto Rico Trench is about 8,350 meters deep, or about 5 miles.
The two deepest points on Earth, lying on the same latitudinal plane, directly across the globe from one another. Can this be just coincidence, or possibly something more?
The Dragon's Triangle in Japan is similar in some ways to the Bermuda Triangle. So we have a multiple situation here where perhaps there's black holes in these areas that cause a lot of problems and disappearances. Perhaps the Bermuda Triangle is connected to the Dragon's Triangle by a simple wormhole.
In deep space, some theoreticians speculate that each black hole is connected to a corresponding white hole. Between them lies a tunnel snaking its way through dimensions we don't yet understand. NASA calls these theoretical passageways wormholes.
A wormhole is basically a shortcut through time and space. If you were to travel through a wormhole, you'd actually be going minutes where it'd take you years to travel that distance.
Could these two mysterious triangle regions on opposite sides of the Earth be connected by a wormhole-like corridor?
Is there a logical explanation for the Dragon's Triangle? Absolutely none. You know, all kinds of scientists, geologists, people that have studied the weather try to figure this out, and they can't come up with anything.
The most advanced black hole. It is crushed into an infinitely small size, disappearing. Similarly, it is believed that hundreds of ships and airplanes have been consumed by forces in the Bermuda Triangle.
Bermuda was well known from the earliest recorded days for its sudden changes in weather. I've experienced some of these myself, where you're lying at anchor and it's a lovely, gorgeous day, and you turn around and look in the other direction, and there's a wall of black heading towards you.
Lifelong Bermuda mariner Teddy Tucker has sailed in and out of the Bermuda Triangle for over 60 years and has not been immune to its hazards.
I've been in 3 times that I could remember really spectacular. I mean, a thunderstorm like you couldn't even imagine. We're going for hours and hours and hours. The lightning was going this way and up and down. And the boat would get so charged up that all around your window frames you'd get static electricity. A little blue fire would go all around and up on the rails or anywhere. Of course, that shut everything down.
There's no question of the fact that the climate around Bermuda can change suddenly. Squalls and storms can appear out of nowhere, and hundreds of ships have gone down in the Bermuda area as a result of these accidents of fate.
Storm surges and excessive winds that start and stop without warning are to some further evidence of a link between the way both black holes and the Bermuda Triangle function.
If there's a black hole in the Earth, weather conditions over a period of time would dramatically start to be quite noticeable and cause very odd effects because of the geomagnetic field of the Earth being distorted, causing incredible weird effects like storms and strange weather patterns.
In the same way that black holes intensify over time as they consume everything around them, scientists now predict that further violence emanating from the triangle will likely intensify as well in the very near future.
If the planet's warming up, the oceans are getting hotter, that is driving more powerful storms, and that is providing the potential for these bigger storms to hit the coastline of the Gulf and Florida.
The Bermuda Triangle is literally the area that most hurricanes that are going to hit the US actually pass through. We've seen over the last 2 years the number of hurricanes hitting the Caribbean region have actually markedly increased.
Doctors Bill McGuire and Mark Maslin are scientists at University College London.
So what we're looking at in the future, particularly for the Caribbean region, is a warmer ocean, putting more energy into the atmosphere, producing stronger and possibly more frequent hurricanes. And so therefore we have a big threat to the US.
Hurricanes form in the warm waters off the coast of West Africa and gain strength as they pass through the Bermuda Triangle. Normally, these storms follow the Gulf Stream up the east coast of the United States.
What's happening with climate change is you're getting a huge amount of ice melted in Greenland and sea ice around the Arctic. That's diluting the Gulf Stream, and it's causing it to slow down. Will that lead to less hurricanes? Well, I suspect it might actually lead to more.
As the Gulf Stream slows, it's possible that the typical routes toward the Caribbean and southeastern United States will become altered, sending hurricanes passing through the Bermuda Triangle to regions unfamiliar with their destructive powers. New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., major population centers that now consider themselves relatively safe from hurricanes and tsunamis.
In this part of the Atlantic, if you're dealing with a situation where you have sweltering conditions, more powerful storms, it's very, very difficult for normal life to go on. We may face a point in decades to come where the hurricane season lasts the whole year round, and where hurricanes are heading off up the east coast of the US. Again, this area is sourcing what could be a huge hazard that spreads right across the Atlantic basin.
As a black hole consumes more matter, it grows in size and intensity. Similarly, as rising temperatures cause the volume of the Bermuda Triangle to increase, so too will the level of destruction.
Because of climate change, we're seeing things like dramatic rise in sea levels, this sort of thing. That rise in sea level can load the crust, it can add extra weight to the crust, and that can make it unstable. So climate change can actually trigger geological events as well. It can also activate faults, so it can trigger earthquakes. Those earthquakes may in turn trigger submarine landslides. So the whole thing is interconnected.
Waves of energy in the form of gravity and ultraviolet light are sent out as a black hole consumes matter. Similarly, as more matter is created at the bottom of the Puerto Rico Trench, the Bermuda Triangle releases waves of water in the form of tsunamis, capable of destruction on a global scale.
Tsunamis in the Caribbean basin in general are very, very common. In the last 500 years, there have been more than 90 tsunamis that were reported. Many of them caused a lot of damage. Tsunamis are basically caused by a rapid change in the seafloor, which moves rapidly all the water that is above it. You can imagine that. Just like if you, in the bathtub, you took the bottom of the bathtub and you moved it up a little bit, or you moved it sideways, you will cause a big wave that will start, traveling.
North of Puerto Rico, the coastline of the southern US is very, very steep. There have been huge landslides that have happened in the past as massive great chunks of rock have plunged into the Caribbean and presumably set tsunamis off northwards and also southwards. Now, this is a very unstable part of the crust, and it's perfectly possible that big earthquakes in the future will cause more huge landslides and send out more tsunamis right across that part of the Atlantic.
So there is a real possibility in the Caribbean of there being tsunamis of 15 meters high sweeping across the Caribbean into the southern United States.
According to the research done by Maslin and McGuire, they collectively believe that the future may be quite bleak in and around Earth's black hole.
Well, in the so-called Bermuda Triangle region, there are many, many hazards that the area is going to face in the next 100 years. Hurricanes are going to get more powerful. We will have sea levels rising quite dramatically by the looks of things. On top of that, because sea levels will be higher, it means that the storm surges from hurricanes will be that much more devastating. They will penetrate more inland. They will be even more devastating than we saw with Katrina. There is the potential for big earthquakes to the south of the region, also collapses on the continental margin, giant submarine landslides. They can trigger again big tsunamis. It's in a pretty vulnerable situation, actually, and you're talking complete devastation.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, landslides, volcanoes, tsunamis, all terrifying manifestations of nature at its most extreme. Similar strange and unexplainable phenomena theoretically exist in deep space as well. Both affect gravity and magnetism. Both defy our very notions of space and time. Both are centers of destruction and anomaly. And yet out of this violence could stem the origins of life in the universe and on our planet.
The whole evolution of life requires violence. So if you're going to generate life, you have to have a big energy source, and the violence of the Earth is an energy source for helping life move along.
As we learn more about space, the more we realize we have left to learn about the mysteries of our own planet Earth.
People that would say that there's a black hole in the Bermuda Triangle is preposterous. I would say there's a lot that we don't know about life in general and about all the cosmic interconnections.
The Milky Way is full of black holes, teeming with black holes. But there could be another population of black holes, and they would be completely invisible. And those black holes could be everywhere. They could be even heading towards the Earth, and we wouldn't know anything about it until it was too late.
We only have one planet to study, one example. So we don't really know what planets do. So we're at the threshold of vast unknown territory.
Within 200 years, we have gone from knowing nothing about black holes to having proof that black holes exist. What could possibly be next?